Conservatives today, we can go a little over, right, JR? Right, okay. So in the conservative blogosphere today, there is the notion that you hear from Michelle Bachmann, that she's trumpeting it. Glenn Beck has talked about it, that Obama's trip to India will cost $200 million a day.
Yeah.
This came out of a Drudge Report story. Again, Michelle Malkin has picked it up, Michelle Bachmann has picked it up, and they're repeating this as if it's fact. Literally $2 million a day. Glenn Beck said that Glenn Beck has decided to multiply that randomly through the rest of Obama's four-country trip and saying that this is going to cost U.S. taxpayers $2 billion.
Yes.
Obviously, that's not true. The story started also by saying 10% of our Navy and 34 warships headed over to support his trip to Asia. Let me just quote you, Jeff Morrell, the Pentagon spokesman, and just for the record, a very close friend of mine. It's ridiculous that one of my close friends is the Assistant Secretary of Defense. And Jeff,
name dropping.
Jeff worked for Robert Gates. I went to school with him. Jeff worked with Robert Gates. Robert Gates, a Republican. So here we go. I will take the liberty this time of dismissing as absolutely absurd this notion that somehow we were deploying 10% of the Navy, 34 ships and an aircraft carrier in support of the President's trip to Asia. It's just comical. Nothing close to that's being done. The McClatchy News Service now reporting $200 million a day is totally false, and there's no basis in fact for the reports at all.
Yeah.
And yet they're making it up and repeating it again and again.
But not only is it absolutely false, and someone said that, and someone with authority said from the government said it's absolutely false. It's also something that it's like, it's ridiculous on its face. No one's being skeptical about that. No one read that and went, oh, that sounds a little high. That sounds a little ridiculous. They went, oh no, this sounds like, you know, Obama didn't have a birth certificate. It all falls into this narrative of, you know, he's a supervillain. He's the Antichrist that no one likes. And no one's skeptical about it. I mean, it's really, really embarrassing.
I hate to bring Michelle Bachmann and Glenn Beck any facts. I know they hate it, but just for the record, just so people have it, setting up a 5-country trip, including India, for Bill Clinton in 2000, according to McClatchy News Services, which is, by the way, is the best news gathering organization, the best news service in the country, by far. Their reporting on Iraq was the best. Setting up a 5-country trip, including India, for Clinton in 2000 required 94 round-trip flights of C-17s. That's amazing, by the way. And 47 flights of C-5s at a cost of more than $37 million, according to the GAO. The Air Force Times estimated that trip at $50 million or $10 million a day. So it's between $37 and $50 million total. Clinton trip to Africa, for example, also cost $42 million, according to the Government Accounting Office. So I'm sure that this is expensive. But that's the whole
it's
trip.
Not cheap. I mean, he's not flying coach.
He's not flying coach, and he's the President of the United States.
He's the President of the United States.
Which he should be reminding people, and also not take any grief for going to India. Be like, hey, man, we lost the election. But this is the #1 threat to us being the primary superpower along with China. And yeah, you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to go to India. I'm taking this trip. I'm going to be busy presidenting.